Hey podcaster, I'm Tim Wahlberg, your podcast performance coach, with another actionable tip so you can grow your authority and convert with ease. Today's tip is don't be a self-serving podcaster. Is the content of your podcast too self-serving? Don't fall into this trap. So I think you know what I mean when I say self-serving, but I want to give you some examples of what this looks like because the line can be blurry. Here's one that's 100% self-serving. And this came up during a free 15-minute coaching call I had with someone last week who was thinking about starting a podcast. They wanted to interview guests in a particular niche, so that was nice, but the reason was so they could learn from them. If you are interviewing someone on your show strictly because you're trying to get information for yourself or for your business, you might be a self-serving podcast. Okay, no, but you get my point here, right? I'm not going to do that. But you get this, right? I mean, yes, it might be interesting to someone else, but you're not thinking about those other people during your show. You're only thinking about yourself. I will say, however, Tim Ferriss actually used this model with his life hacking podcast, but made it all about serving the listener so that you could benefit from the conversations he had. He was one of the first to do this, right? But you have to put the listener first and position it that way. Check your intentions. Another example of a self-serving podcast is utilizing a high-profile guest for your benefit. You're doing this for the wrong reasons. This isn't serving your listener. That big name booking is strictly so you can get a power boost in your download numbers. And it's an ego play to say that you had so-and-so on. If done right, that big name could be and should be in your niche, talking about the same topic that matters to your listener and delivering mad value. Then that top thought leader in your field will make sense. But me having Tom Hanks on this Just One Tip podcast talking about podcasting isn't going to serve you. And I told him that when he asked to be on my show. I said, no, you don't have anything to offer my listeners. That's not a formula they can replicate. Check your intentions. The third example of a self-serving podcast is when you have a pay-to-play model. This is when a guest or a sponsor or an affiliate or even a client pays you in some form or another and is promised an appearance on your show. And that might even look like a perk for signing up for one of your programs. This is a form of a self-serving podcast. Let's call it what it is. However, I want to be clear, this isn't wrong and it isn't bad. It's only bad if you forget about the listener and you bring them on to let them promote themselves all over your show and make it all about them. If they want to do that, let them pay for a commercial. How you make it work is if you cater things to your listener. What's in it for the listener? If you've been listening to my show for any amount of time, you've heard me talk about listener-centric podcasting. You need that avatar filter running at all times. When you bring someone on, and I mean anyone on your show, make them serve your listener. Ask them how they're going to serve your listener. Make them think about how they're going to do that. And that means you need to tell them exactly who your listener is and what they're struggling with. And it's your job to only bring on guests that serve your listener, no matter how much money that you'll make from having them on your show. Now, your guests can still talk about what they do and their process. Also, if it is a client, what you do and what your process is, as long as there's a takeaway for the listener. Then it's far less self-serving. Check your intentions. And the last example I want to share is a pure guest. 100% black and white, no doubt about it. It's clearly on the right side of the intentions line. It's the pure guest. And I had to laugh when I was writing this, thinking about a pure guest. It sounds so wholesome and thoughtful. Imagine your listener thinking, wow, A guest for me? Just me and only me? Oh, wow. You didn't have to. Really, I don't deserve this. Imagine though, like you bring on a guest solely for the purpose of helping your listener. What value? What service? You selfishly pick the guest solely for the interest of your listener. All the questions you ask are on behalf of your guests. You represent them on every question. You ask the questions they're thinking. You're 2 steps ahead of every thought they have. It's like you were thinking of them all along. And it's beautiful. I'm gonna need a moment. Son of a bitch. No intention check here. You're golden. So, if the line is still blurry for you when you're picking your next podcast guest, here's the one takeaway from this episode. Check your intentions. Before helping yourself, be sure you're serving your listener. And I hope that's just the tip you need. Check your intentions. Need some help checking your intentions? Oh yeah, right. Before you can do that, you need to know a few things. Your why, your who, and your what. Don't know these? Need some help figuring them out? Let me bring you some clarity. Or sometimes as that process unfolds, a whole lot of confusion before we find the clarity. Come on, let's start working together, you and me. Book a free 15-minute coaching call and let's see what clarity can do for your show. Book your free 15-minute coaching call at podcastperformancecoach.com. I'm Tim Wahlberg. Check your intentions. Check your intentions. Check your intentions. Check your intentions. See ya.